I forgot. I thought I lived more than once. Now I'll jump off the cliff. I bought 500 worms that arrived at my house yesterday. Never done that before. The cows will just burst. They'll literally burst.
We're just a couple of business anchors. Welcome to the Business Anchors podcast. This jingle is slightly too long. This jingle is slightly too long.
Welcome to part 2 of episode 6, where we're talking about bad advice. And in this part, we're going to be talking about bad life advice. And we are going to be talking about what we spoke about in the previous episode, which is really interesting, which is how you can prevent cows from bursting, which is some advice that I received previously. So I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you. And me and Dan are going to have a bad business advice speed round, where we're going to fire some bad business advice at each other and see who can come up with the worst advice.
I think there's lots to learn from this episode, though, because there'll be from the terrible shit advice, you can actually gain a lot by thinking, do the opposite of that.
Yeah, we probably should communicate that, shouldn't we? That we're not just hugely negative people. Let's do an episode about bad business advice. We're actually thinking, you can learn from this advice like we have, and do the opposite.
So tell us, Lloyd, in terms of, in the last episode we focused heavily on bad business advice and what we can learn from that. What about kind of life advice? What about non-businessy stuff? Because lots of listeners don't give a shit about business. They just listen to hear our strange stories and things. So what have you got for us?
Well, one of the worst pieces of advice that I really get frustrated with, and I have done for a few years now, is YOLO. Anyone know what that means? YOLO?
I do.
So for the older people in the audience, my age.
You sound so sad saying
my age. YOLO stands for you only live once.
Yep.
And what frustrates
me phrase.
Is so growing up when I was younger, if it was a fashionable phrase to say when I was in my late teens, my friend James would have been constantly saying YOLO, because I love him, but he's someone who takes a lot of risks. And would always persuade me to try and take those risks with him. He would have been shouting YOLO from the rooftops. So what annoys me is you only live once. People try and pressure you into doing things. So it's like, Lloyd, jump off that cliff. And if I make a decision in my head, I really value my life, and I also value my legs. So thinking about everything, the things that could happen that are quite bad and quite likely to happen, I'm not going to jump off that cliff. Yeah. And their response to me saying no would be, go on, mate, you only live once. And I'm supposed to go, oh, yeah, I forgot. I thought I lived more than once. Now I'll jump off the cliff. And it just annoys me, because I think it's something people use to try and make you do things that you don't want to do. And I get that sometimes trying new things is good. I try new things all the time. Legal things, though.
Like what, buying worms in your wormery like you did recently?
I bought 500 worms that arrived at my house yesterday. Never done that before. So, YOLO.
You're definitely getting older, Lloyd.
Yeah, I just hate, it's one of those things. A similar thing is when people are horrible to you, and then to make it seem like you shouldn't be making a fuss about them being horrible, they go, I'm only joking, calm down. And then you can't say anything back to it. Okay, it's a joke that you're just swearing at me constantly. Okay, a good one. It's like when people say YOLO, there's not really you're like, if I responded like I'm thinking, I know I only live once, but I value my life and legs, it's not.
I think a more, like, going the opposite end of that, a more sort of insightful approach, things that I've learnt from, it might have been Gary Vee that said something like this, and I know he says a lot of shit, but something that actually made me think is when he ages ago, he said this thing about going to an old people's home and asking them, like, about their life and what they regret or what they don't regret, and understanding that will help you make better decisions. Like, they won't regret not buying a new car or not, but like the things to do with the things that actually matter, like seeing your family and all that kind of thing. I think that will help you make sort of better decisions rather than just thinking YOLO. Think like, what would I actually add to my life?
But then at the same time, YOLO. So
Yeah, that's a really good point.
So yeah, sorry to have a bit of a YOLO rant. Even saying it, I sound like an old man.
Ah.
I've just been discussing YOLO with some of the younger people.
Do
at
that in
work.
the radio voice. Do that as if we're on the radio.
We've just been talking about a phrase that I've heard recently called YOLO. It actually stands for something quite interesting. It's you only live once. YOLO, YOLO. And I've actually been discussing with some of the younger listeners recently to hear what they think about it. And some really interesting stories. If you've got any interesting stories about YOLO, YOLO, you only live once, then give us a call. But for now, we're going to listen to Daniel Bedingfield, Gotta Get Through This. Do you remember that song?
Yeah, it's such a tune.
Anyway, the radio DJ voice hasn't appeared for a while, has it?
No.
I was thinking whether to do it, and then I just thought, you only live once, Lloyd. So I'm just going to do the radio DJ voice.
You're so sad.
Anyway,
But
Dan, have you got any, away from business, any bad advice in your life that you think...
Yeah. I think the whole sort of thing around not doing something because you might look stupid. I don't know. I remember, especially growing up, you always want to try and... I remember looking back at me when I was younger, and I was just a right idiot, I think. Looking back, because I was just trying to fit in, trying to conform, and just didn't want to do anything that was too out there because I thought people might think I'm stupid and stuff. And I think especially when starting the business, doing, at the time, like creating videos of me on camera saying stuff about marketing, I remember loads of people that I knew sort of saw them and thought, oh my God, you look stupid. Look at that. Like,
Because you did.
Yeah, I did look stupid. Looking back, they were terrible videos. We actually did a reaction video to some of my first videos, which is good. You should see that on my YouTube. But then when I look back to those things that I did that made me look a bit stupid and push myself outside my comfort zone, they're all the things that have helped shape who I am now, which sounds like I'm reading out of a really cringy quotes book saying this stuff, but it's true. Like, I think not enough. I even want to do this myself. Try and do more things that make me feel uncomfortable, because otherwise you just end up coasting, don't you? I think.
Yeah. I just did that thing.
Yeah.
No, I genuinely think that,
Yeah.
and I think I'm quite good at that personally. But only recently, I feel like I've got good at not really caring what other people think now.
Well, when you were younger, in what year was it when you had your magic tissues? Lloyd used to... That sounds...
So just for context, listeners, when I was in reception in year 1 at school, so 4 or 5 years old, if anyone ever spoke to me, then I would burst into tears. And Mrs. Lowers, lovely lady, used to get her magic tissues out, which I've recently found out she was completely pulling the wool over my eyes. They were standard Kleenex tissues.
Oh, not the magic ones?
No, she said they were magic. That stopped me crying. I don't really understand why this fit into the story, but I just had to give context.
Yeah, I can't remember. I just wanted to say about you crying loads when you were younger.
Cool, great. Thanks, mate.
But yeah, just on the point of crying, this is random, but have you seen Ricky Gervais' Afterlife?
I've seen the first series.
The new season's out. Sorry, this is completely out of context, but if you want a good Netflix show, I've been watching it with Christelle like every night this week.
This will give us a reason to put a clip on social media and tag Ricky Gervais and hope that he retweets it.
Yeah, Ricky Gervais.
Just don't make it obvious.
Okay.
Oh, Afterlife's so good.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the first series, but I haven't had a chance to watch the second series yet, Dan.
Well, Lloyd, you should, because it's really good.
Yeah, and I just really admire Ricky Gervais. Such a good guy.
Yeah, not obvious. But yeah, as I was saying, Lloyd, I just been watching it and just crying loads every night.
Yeah, see, that's...
It's I just can't...
In the first series, basically Sarah used to just fall asleep on the sofa while I sobbed on my own. And I really enjoyed it, but I also, when I'm choosing what to watch at the moment, it's kind of thinking, oh, do I want to cry alone tonight?
Yeah.
Or
I'd really advise against having a couple of beers and then watching it. The emotions. My eyes were just streaming for about an hour.
Yeah, and I'm an emotional man, so I will be crying a lot. Again, no idea why we were talking about that.
So we were talking about bad life advice.
Yeah.
Anything else, Lloyd, that you've had, like, what bad life advice have you had that's memorable?
Well, I'm laughing just thinking about it. Laughing so much I knocked the microphone. Sorry, listeners, if you heard that. So, a few years back when I first became vegetarian,
Oh no, not this one.
But some of the funniest advice that I have ever had. Hopefully you'll find it's funny because I can't stop laughing even thinking about it. I said to a guy, I think I was recently gone vegetarian. He said, "Oh yeah, I get that. I get being vegetarian. Like that's all right because you can still eat like cheese and eggs and milk and stuff. And yeah, I understand that. But and I've always wanted to be vegan, and I kind of go in and out of being vegan because I'm rubbish and I can't stick to it. But he was saying, but vegans, God, that's just stupid. Why would you ever be vegan? And I was because I felt quite uncomfortable at the time. I just sort of went, yeah. why would you? Even though I completely disagreed with everything he was saying. Just trying to not have not create conflict. Yeah, oh, yeah, vegans. Oh, yeah, I can't believe it. And then his next point, I'm trying to think. Was this bad advice? Yes, yeah, I think it was because it makes absolutely no sense. So he said he started talking about.
Was it serious advice as well?
He was deadly serious. There was no element of joking. And he said to me, what I think is really stupid about vegans is, do they not realise that if you don't drink cow's milk, they won't need to milk the cows, and then the cows will just burst. They'll literally burst. And again,
wasn't this in a business setting, like a really professional?
Yeah. And again, not wanting to cause conflict. I think my reaction was something like, yeah. So the bad advice is, if you're considering being vegan, please don't, because it will cause all of the cows to burst. Yeah. So that's bad advice that
I think that is really stupid though. That's
well, if you don't know how things work, because obviously animals and humans produce milk when they're pregnant and they've just had a baby. So cows don't produce milk unless they've recently
had a big hand up their bum and or not bum, bits.
Yeah, that's Dan doesn't quite understand biology there. Did you struggle to make your first child, Dan?
Took a few goes.
We've been doing it for ages and nothing's happening. But yeah, that's some of my funny bad advice I had.
That's terrible.
Have you got any more? I've got a couple of.
Yeah, I'll chuck one more in that I and it's kind of a regret really looking back at university. I remember my primary focus at university was to have fun, which doesn't sound like bad advice at all. This is for people that are considering going to university. I had a really good time and had a whole great life experience on that, and I got a degree out of it and things. But I look back and think, I remember there was just so many opportunities to do networking and to meet people and to do really good stuff and use the resource at the university. And all I did was rarely go to any lectures, do the bare minimum for the first year anyway. I eventually did all right, and just didn't try. And I just think, if you are going to university, do have fun, but use all the cool resources.
What does frustrate me though, Dan, I had a similar thing where I had a good time at university, but again spent most of my money on Domino's pizza and vodka, and didn't put much effort in. So Dan and I both admitted there we didn't put as much effort in as we should. What did you get for your degree? What results did you get?
Oh, just got something like a first or something.
A first. So Dan put no effort in and got a first.
No, I didn't put any effort in my first year. I was 2% off failing my first year, and then I got scared and worked harder in my second and third year.
I didn't get scared.
What did you get, Lloyd?
I think I got a 2-2.
Right.
But I think I was very close to a third class, which is basically you've just passed, but don't tell anyone what you got because they won't be impressed and won't help you in life.
I think I don't know. Have you ever used your degree in your life? You might have. I don't.
Well, actually, without my degree, I wouldn't have met my wife.
Oh, really?
Because I got a temporary job when I came out of university, a temporary job at Boots over Christmas, and that's where my wife worked. And they hired 8 new people at Christmas because it gets really busy. And they basically went through the 8 of us, and he was going down the line with this bit of paper the day we were starting, and he came to me, and he went, "Oh, you're working in the pharmacy," and I was like. I was thinking, it's a temporary. I thought I'd just be on the till. Like, put me in the pharmacy. I've got absolutely no relevant qualifications. Yeah. And he said to me, because you're the only one with a degree. So I got a 2-2 in primary education to be a primary school teacher. and that qualified me to work in the pharmacy. And that's where my lovely wife Sarah was working.
I also love the story of how your flirting tactics.
Right.
No, I've got to share this.
I've got what?
Lloyd used to flirt with Sarah. Bearing in mind, right, this is after uni, so he's an adult. I mean, how you must have. He's actually squinting because he's so worried about me saying this. I can say this, can't I? But him.
You can say what you want, mate.
His flirting tactics with Sarah when he first met her was to flick elastic bands at her.
Well, I wouldn't say I was flirting. That's just what I was doing. In case
it actually worked, though.
In case you didn't hear, that wasn't when I was 7. That was actually as an adult. Yeah, and it worked. So if anyone's looking for love out there, flick elastic bands at your co-workers that you like.
I feel sorry for you. Innit?
Yeah.
Marry you and have kids.
Yeah, and just be aware, any of my co-workers, if I flick elastic bands at you.
Yeah, I'm going to watch out now. What else?
I'd never flick an elastic band at another girl, Sarah, just so you know. So finally, this is a bit of a weird one that I was thinking about. And I remember a guy that gave me this advice, and it does make sense, but I've got a bit of a different point. So this whole family first.
Okay.
So
what a horrible way to live your life.
No, but hearing that, obviously it makes sense. You look after your close family, make sure everyone, fine. But I find a lot of people use this to not help anyone else. Mm-hmm. And so this can be as small as, I look after my family and no one else, as in the people that live in your house. Or it could be you could extend this to, I look after the people in my country before other countries because, let's look after our own. And I just think that the guy that was saying this to me, so I was, we were talking about some charity work at the time, things and donating to charity.
Oh, you do charity work, do you, Lloyd?
I'm not doing that just to... Yeah, actually I do a bit of charity work. No, so this was about just a small donation to charity, and we're in the same setting, and he basically was justifying, I think, why he wasn't donating. Right, okay, which is fine. Like, when, with a charity thing, you don't have to donate. It doesn't make you a bad person not to donate. But this was the context of the story. So he sort of looked at me and said, we're not millionaires or anything, so you've got to focus on your family first, haven't you? And then once you've achieved everything, then you can start helping other people. And I just think it's a bad attitude to have, because when I try and help someone else or give to charity, I don't give them my son's dinner. I think I don't go,
Leo, you're not having dinner.
I don't go, Leo, I'm out to work with the homeless tonight, so no dinner for you. I'm taking it down there.
Yeah.
So, Leo's primary school's calling me. I should probably pick that up.
I can't believe you just done that. If I would have done that, you'd have gone mental at me.
I just need to justify something to the listeners.
Go on.
So you've probably, hopefully you didn't listen to that whole phone call that I just took. So this is how
unprofessional
in my head. This is, listen, you're gonna. My phone rang and I looked down and it had the name of Leo's school on it, and I thought, there might be an emergency. So I picked it up.
But Leo's not at school, is he?
When I picked up the phone, I realised Leo hasn't started school yet, and he's not at school, and that definitely wouldn't be to do with an emergency. Just someone calling about stuff.
I'm just going to answer every call that comes now.
Yeah.
Where were we anyway before you rudely...
family first. So I was just saying... so when you help other people, it doesn't stop you helping your own family. Obviously, there's a point where if you're in a situation where you desperately need help and support, then you're not going to stop doing that and just, like you said, take food away from your own children and give it to someone else. But I think the kind of family first attitude is quite often an excuse,
to not do
a reason to not help other people, because you're trying to justify, I help my. I
do get that, and I also think, thinking more broadly, like the world, like I'm only going to help my country or my community. It's just pure luck that you've ended up on that point of the map, and you're just the same as someone on another point of the map, but someone's just positioned that as we're this, the UK,
like
or
hundreds or thousands of years ago, basically a white man just drew a line in the sand and said, this side of it's my country, and that side of it's yours. and for that reason we say, well, I'm only going to help people this line of that sand.
Yeah.
And so that's my thing. I don't think we should look after our own before others, because I don't think it makes sense, and I think it's an excuse to not help other people.
You're not going to join the EDL anytime soon, then? No?
I don't think so. No. I might
think
do
your application in time.
It depends. If we don't have any work next month, I might just give it a go, spend some time. Yeah, but I don't think so.
Okay. Cool. So the next section we're going to talk about is about you being an anchor. I'm going to do your job for you.
We didn't do this last episode.
Yeah, so this one's slightly different. For those listeners that haven't heard this before, each week we talk about each other being shit, basically, and we called it Lloyd's an anchor or Dan's an anchor. So this week it's Lloyd's an anchor. Normally we kind of just slag each other off and talk about horrible things we've done and rubbish things we've done, but this week's a bit of a different one, because I just want to tell a bit of a funny story about a shit thing you've done.
Oh,
that you told me the other day,
right?
And it's to do with your worms. So for those that Lloyd basically, if you listen to the last episode, Lloyd loves someone called Robbie Knox, who's a really cool YouTuber. We had him on the podcast last episode, a really nice guy, and he makes he's got lots of videos about gardening and things, and he's got his own wormery. And Lloyd obviously saw that he did it and just wanted to make his own wormery because Robbie Knox did it, and Lloyd's really into gardening now. So what Lloyd did was basically a wormery, for those that don't know, and I'm not an expert, is where you basically get like a big box thing, put old food in it, put loads of worms in it, the worms eat the food, poo it out and make soil. Is that kind of right, Lloyd?
Yeah, make compost, yeah.
And then don't they wee, and then it makes this juice that you put on for animal feed
like
or something?
Basically worm diarrhea, you just pour on your plants.
So anyway, Lloyd's making this wormery, and so to make it you need like loads of worms, 500 worms, and like boxes to put them in. So Lloyd orders these worms and these boxes, and then he comes into it the other day and he went, "Oh, something funny's happened. I've ordered 500 worms at home, and they're at home with Sarah and Leo." And
they're at home with Sarah. They weren't just crawling all over our house. They were like in packaging.
But he's got a message from Amazon, and what you're supposed to put them in is just delayed. So he's just got loads of worms open in his house, haven't you?
Yes, that was annoying that Amazon delayed the big tubs that they're supposed to go in. So
what have you done with your 500
So
worms?
I just had a delivery of 500 worms, nothing to do with them. So I just had to find. I was desperately looking in my shed for something to put them in. So yesterday I did put my... God, this podcast is taking a weird turn. I just realised. I put my worms in this big tub thing that I found in the shed. Put the lid on with some food and bit of bedding.
Bedding for worms.
Basically soil. Call it bedding because that's what we call it when in the wormery world.
Yeah.
And
didn't some escape or something? You said to me last time we were playing COD.
That was my plan. Obviously, the actual thing I was supposed to use didn't turn up, so it didn't work. Me and Sarah were just about to go to bed. I thought, just say goodnight.
You turned over and wasn't there a worm on Sarah's head?
To my worms, and they were all just escaping out of the box, all over the floor, just trying to crawl away. And there's 500 of them. So imagine trying to find 500 worms that were just spreading themselves around you. Yeah, so it didn't go exactly to plan. But yeah, I have to admit, ordering 500 worms before having the thing you need to put them in, definitely a mistake. Yeah,
so Lloyd's certainly an anchor this week.
Definitely an anchor. Okay, right. To finish off the podcast this week, Dan, we are going to have. We did a speed round of failure before. Mm-hmm. We're going to. I think that was episode 2. Episode 2. So if you like this, go and check it out. But this is going to be a speed round of bad business advice. So me and Dan have written our worst possible business advice, and we're going to take it in turns to give each other this advice. And see who can come up with the worst and the most.
And let us know.
Let us know who you think has won in giving the worst advice.
Right, I need to get myself ready to...
All I'm going to say is, Lauren, good luck with moving the camera to the right person that's talking, because this is going to be really quick, so it's going to be impossible. So if you're watching this on the Knowlton YouTube channel, you can give Lauren a mark out of 10 for if she managed to keep up with us.
Okay, go on, you start then. Are we?
Yeah. Okay. We ready for this bad business advice?
So we just speed rounding, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
3. Okay. Let me just introduce it.
Go on.
The bad business speed round with Dan Knowlton and Lloyd Knowlton from Knowlton. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Every time you meet a new potential. Oh no! I read no. Start again. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. If someone isn't interested, give them your business card just in case.
Every time you meet a potential new client, give them a wet willy.
If someone isn't interested in taking your business card, persuade them they should take it.
Don't class personal hygiene as a priority in your life.
Make sure you take laxatives for breakfast if you're pitching a new client.
Teach course creators how to teach course creators how to teach course creators how to make courses that sell courses.
Nice. Spread the word in your business network that everyone must drink cow's milk to prevent the cows from bursting.
Talk about how brilliant you are all the time.
If someone asks for help or advice, send them an invoice prior to helping them.
Eat poo for breakfast before meeting a new client. Oh my god, I'm so childish.
Never eat at your desk. #vermin.
Listen to trolls online. This is a good one for you, actually. Listen to trolls online. They're probably right about how rubbish you are as a person.
Oh, yeah, I should listen to that because they do tell me I'm rubbish as a person. Follow in Dan's footsteps. Never make drinks for your co-workers. If you wait long enough, they'll make you a drink.
10x everything.
There's a reason you've got one mouth and two ears. You have one mouth so that the person you're talking to can focus on what you are saying. Don't stop talking or ask them any questions. You are more important and interesting.
Become an aloe vera health drink salesperson.
If you're in a position of authority, ensure you treat everyone like shit so they don't forget you're powerful.
Pretend you know what you're talking about.
When someone gives you critical feedback, do not take it on board and improve. Make sure you shout at them and let them know they are wrong.
Use long words. It makes you sound like you know what you're talking about.
Filter out the unimportant people that want to speak to you. Ask them their income, and if it's below yours, tut and walk away. Is that all?
Some great advice there.
Oh, I got through my list as well.
Oh, have you done
Nice.
yours?
Yeah. Let us know who you think had the worst business advice there. I think Dan's was more childish and mine was more weird.
Yeah.
I think very mature. They don't eating poo for breakfast. Nice. Right, thank you guys. Hope you've enjoyed this bit of a weird one, this bad advice one. If you like that speed round, as I said, it's actually episode 3 that we had the speed round before that was quite funny. So if you're new here, go back and listen to that. That was quite funny. Really happy to have you here as listeners.
And don't forget to
guys.
give us the review with the word vermin in somehow. I'm actually looking forward to seeing the two people that do that, like you said.
Yeah, get creative. If you can slip vermin into your review and make it sound like a genuine review that no one would blink an eyelid to.
We're going to read them out.
We'll read them out next time. Yeah.
So we're expecting a review from people like Robbie Knox, who we know listens.
I mean, Robbie Knox says he's a listener. He's been on the podcast, but I haven't seen any reviews.
Who else? Let's try and name some names. Who actually listens that hasn't done a review, Lloyd?
Well, I've named one of the 3. Who else says they listen?
Dad Knowlton left us a review.
Dad Knowlton. I don't think he has, and I know he listens every time.
He'll just probably put vermin with an exclamation mark.
Yeah. So that's 2 out of the 3. Who's the 3rd listener we've got? Oh, that's Mum, but she shares an account with Dad, so yeah. Okay, we look forward to those 2 reviews. #vermin. And if you don't do it, Dad, vermin.